Hello everyone, I'm Staci Birchfield.
Hi, my name is Sharrla Rodgers.
We are both students at the Metropolitan Community College Business and Technology Center in Kansas City, Missouri. We are going to demonstrate for you today how to accomplish password recovery on a Cisco router. Initially it sounds like a daunting task, but it is something that can be broken down to approximately 15 small steps, and hopefully in your future job you do not have to do this every day, but on occasion it might come up. So hopefully you'll learn something today. So let's get started. First, you're going to need physical access to the compromised equipment that you're working on, and you will need to make sure that you have your console cable and you're able to plug it into the console port on either the front or the back of the router. Sometimes you might actually need a flashlight to help you find the port you're looking for. So this is what we're looking for on the back of this router.
Now it's recording. Okay, go ahead.
Next on our list, we are going to do a show version in order to get the configuration register that we actually have on our router, and we're going to have to write that number down. Usually it is going to be 0x2102 or something along those lines, and you want to make sure that you write that down. After we do this, we're going to turn off the router and then turn it back on, and then within 30 seconds, actually 60 seconds, sorry, of restarting the router, we are going to have a control break, or we're going to have a break sequence so that we can enter ROM-on mode.
Okay, go ahead.
We are looking for the configuration register number, and there it is down at the bottom. It says configuration register is 0x2102. And now we're going to go shut off the router and then turn it back on. Okay, now we're going to turn off the router and turn it back on. I know this is a really difficult step, but I think everybody can handle it. Okay, now we are going to do a break sequence, which you hold down your control key and your break key at the same time, and you will enter your ROM-on mode. At the ROM-on prompt that says 1, you are going to type in config 0x2142 and then hit enter. That particular command is it changes the default configuration register and enables the router to bypass the startup configuration. At the next prompt, which is ROM-on 2, you want to type reset and hit enter. After hitting the return or enter button, it's going to reboot and ignore the startup configuration where the other passwords were stored. Okay, and that is the end of my section. I will throw it over to you, Sharrla.
Okay, Staci, I'll take over from here. Alright, once the router reboots, you'll be asked several setup questions that you will need to respond no to, so we'll do that. And then, or you can press Control-C to skip the initial setup procedure. And it's still kind of doing its own little thing here. So we'll give it just a moment to do that. Okay, now we're at the router prompt. It will type enable or EN as a shortcut, and it takes you to the global config. At this prompt, you want to type in copy startup config, and you're going to copy it to the running config. Now make sure you do not type copy running to startup. You need to make sure you're doing startup to running. Yes. Okay, now we're back to the router prompt here, and we want to go into compt, and here's where you're going to change the password. We're just going to do enable secret, and we're just going to keep it simple and make it Cisco as our password. Now at this point, you'll need to type config register. Oops. Okay, we made a common mistake. We did an oopsie. With commands, with lots of commands on a router, a lot of them have to have a dash. So I didn't put the dash in, so it didn't work right. It's amazing how much the little dash means. So now you wrote down the version number back on step 2. So what you need to do is now then put it back in here. So you want the 0 x2102. Then we'll hit enter. And then now we're going to hit exit to go back. And we want to, well, when it's done doing its thing, and now we want to copy running config, because we've changed the password, to startup config. And see how I put in the dashes? And that's where we want it to go, and it's building the configuration. So we are good to go. We are gold. Okay, now the password recovery is a handy little nugget of information to have, because you never know what situation may crop up that you may need it, such as a disgruntled employee making one last dig before he leaves, or someone gaining access to your router and then physically changing everything on it, and you have to come back in and undo their changes. Now, it's also a good idea to keep your passwords secure. Don't put them under your keyboard or save a password list to your desktop. You know who you are that have done that.
Well, that's all for our presentation. Rock on!